My brothers, my sisters, the Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus came from Galilee to John at the Jordan to be baptized by him. John tried to prevent him, saying, "I need to be baptized by you, and yet you are coming to me." Jesus said to him in reply, "Allow it now, for thus it is fitting for us to fulfill all righteousness." Then he followed him. After Jesus was baptized, he came up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened for him. He saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming upon him. And a voice came from the heavens saying, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
In ancient Greece, Socrates was widely lauded for his wisdom. And one day the great philosopher came upon an acquaintance who ran up to him excitedly and said, "Socrates, do you know what I just heard about one of your students?" Socrates replied, "Wait a moment. Before you tell me, I'd like you to pass a little test. It's called the test of 3. Socrates continued, "Before you talk to me about my student, let's take a moment to test what you're going to say. The first test is truth. Have you made absolutely sure that what you're about to tell me is true?" The man said, "No, actually I just heard about it." "All right," said Socrates. "So you don't really know if it's true or not. Now let's try the second test, the test of goodness. Is what you're about to tell me about my student something good?" Replied the other, "No, on the contrary." So Socrates continued, "You want to tell me something bad about him, even though you're not certain it's true?" The man shrugged, a little embarrassed. Socrates continued, "You must still pass, though, a third test, the filter of usefulness. Is what you want to tell me about my student going to be useful to me?" The man said, "No, not really." "Well," concluded Socrates, "if you want to tell me something that's neither true nor good, nor even useful, why tell it to me at all?" Old Socrates, it seems, might well have been speaking directly to our age with his admonishment to abstain from the wicked pleasure of malicious gossip. He might certainly have been addressing the publishers of cheap tabloids and desperate political figures who, of our day, freely use such ploys to discredit others. In truth, though, I believe Socrates was addressing a much wider audience, humankind across all ages. What solace it can give us mortal creatures to point out the faults of others. How much better might we feel, at least for a moment, when we can imagine ourselves a cut above our neighbor. And though the telling of a tale might be pleasurable, especially when the listener is an excited listener and participant, we often find ourselves unquiet in the aftermath. Indeed, gossiping can provide a quick high, but at a steep expense. Now, why speak of such a dreary topic as the Christmas season comes to an end? It's because the gospel passage we hear today, on the feast of the baptism of the Lord, invites us to see ourselves and others with the very eyes of God. Rather than judging others, something which comes so naturally to most of us, we're invited this day to something much more challenging: loving ourselves and others. Today's gospel reminds us that heavenly insight has been bestowed upon each one of us by our baptism. And we're urged to use that insight, accepting every person as a brother or sister created in the image of God. St. Matthew writes, when Jesus had been baptized, just as he came up from the water, a voice from heaven said, "This is my Son, the beloved, with whom I am well pleased." Quite a challenge to see ourselves and others as does God. Perhaps not even possible this side of heaven. But it remains an ideal for which we ought never compromise our values. It's been my experience from years of caring for the beaten, the battered, the broken, that the problem is with us. How many of us look in the mirror and truly dislike what we see? I think it's too common an experience. But this day we're challenged to let the next peek in that mirror become a glimpse of the heavenly beauty as we look beyond all those things that matter so little to what is deepest within. Hearts made to hold the humanity and divinity of Jesus Christ. Tabernacles more sacred than can be found anywhere on this earth. And though this new year has already started, it's not too late to make a few spiritual resolutions that might allow us to better see ourselves in and as the image of God. And even to begin loving who stares back at us from the mirror. And so I am offering the following. Stop spending time with the wrong people. Life is too short to spend time with people who suck the happiness out of you. Stop putting your own needs on the back burner. Yes, help others, but help yourself too. Stop trying to hold on to the past. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Stop exclusively looking to others for happiness. If you're not happy with who you are on the inside, you won't be happy in a long-term relationship with anyone else either. Stop getting involved in relationships for the wrong reasons. Relationships must be chosen wisely. It's better to be alone than to be in bad company. Stop being jealous of others. Jealousy is the art of counting someone else's blessing instead of your own. And stop holding grudges. Don't live your life with hate in your heart. You'll end up hurting yourself more than the people you hate. And stop blaming others for your troubles. The extent to which you can achieve your dreams depends on the extent to which you take responsibility for your life. When Jesus had been baptized, just as he came up from the river, a voice from heaven said, "This is my child, my beloved, with whom I am well pleased. And that's the Heavenly Father talking about Jesus, and also about every single one of us.